Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Today, here in just a bit, I am off to check out the new horror, comedy, drama, whatever it is, Beau is Afraid, directed by Ari Aster and starring Joaquin Phoenix. This is a combination that I'm looking forward to. Joaquin Phoenix is one of my top favorite actors in the biz today, and I am really a big fan of Ari Aster's work. I'll be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of Hereditary. I thought Hereditary was good, but it wasn't something that blew my mind. Midsommar, however, I don't know what it was about that movie, to be perfectly honest. I could not stop watching. It was so amazing. There's something about horror films in the daylight with a bunch of bright colors. It's just so unexpected, and that movie was just gorgeous. Okay, well, you know what? I am not here to talk about Midsommar. I am here to talk about Beau is Afraid. So what is the story of Beau is Afraid? The best I could tell is that Beau is a middle-aged man played by Joaquin Phoenix who has got a very, well, let's just say, interesting relationship with his mother. He's got one of those moms that really just beats him down and makes him feel like crap, and has made him afraid of everything in the world outside of his home. Well, he has to go to the airport to pick her up, and, well, let's just say it is one hell of a journey getting from his apartment to go pick her up at the airport, from what I can tell from the trailer. This is a film that looks like it's going to be very surrealistic, very strange and different, a very unique film, and I love stuff like that. It looks like it's going to be very dark, but then it might be very bright. It looks like it's got elements of all sorts of different types of film that I love, so you know what? It is enough. It's time for me to stop talking. I need to get out the door because I need to go see Beau is Afraid. Welcome back. Just getting home, and you know, I did enjoy this movie, but I don't think it's going to be everybody's cup of tea. Okay, so we're going to do what I normally do and get things started with the negatives and then move into the positives. First negative of this movie. Now, I don't really find this a negative because, well, I'll get to my reasoning behind that in the positive section, but this movie is a 3-hour-long film, and I think that does need to be brought up because I know for a lot of people that is just way too much time to sit in a movie theater. And yes, this movie does have a pretty long time attached to it. So I know a lot of folks are going to say that that's a big negative, despite the fact that I didn't really care too awful much, because as long as I feel like the film is still flowing real well and keeping me entertained, I don't mind it so much. As long as I've got the time to sit down and watch it, I don't mind a long movie. But I can definitely see for some people how that would be a big old negative. So that's the first thing I'm going to start off with. The second one, and that is the fact that this is a very surrealistic, very niche kind of film. If you're not into something that is very avant-garde, that's very surrealistic, that's not the norm, this is definitely not a movie for you. This film does not flow like a regular movie. It's plops around a whole lot. Like I said in my intro, now, I thought he was going to the airport to pick up his mother. In fact, he's going to the airport to go visit his mom. He's supposed to catch a plane. And then it leads into this whole journey, and the film plays out almost like a like Gulliver's travels. He just kind of goes from one thing to another. Stories don't necessarily wrap themselves up, and I could see that's where something that would really bother some people when they're watching this. It didn't bother me so much, and again, when I get to my positives, I'll explain that a little bit more, but I can definitely see how the whole tone and vibe and feel to this film, the way it flows, the way it's edited, would really kind of rub some people the wrong way. Now, that all being said, I personally really enjoyed this movie. I, for one, do like surrealistic, more artsy kind of films, and I thought this movie really delivered in a lot of those areas. One of the things I did say was the way the film flows and how I feel that could really annoy people. Now, I honestly think that that's done by design, because the more I thought about this movie, I came home and I'm like, oh, I gotta, this is one of those movies I gotta sit down and think about, and I've already decided that I'm gonna have to sit down and watch this movie a second time just to kind of just absorb everything. That's one of those films that I really think it's going to take me another viewing to really get across everything. But so the flow of the film, the reason why it is the way it is, I think it's because this film is pretty much nothing but an anxiety-fueled nightmare. Everything in this movie, you don't know what's real and what's not real from the get-go of this film. In the trailer, it makes it look like this guy lives in one of the most dangerous freaking neighborhoods in all of the states, but there is a good possibility that is just in his head, and it's just his anxiety that's making him think this because he's so scared to go out into the real world. Or it's really happening. It's very hard to tell. Maybe he does really live in the most dangerous place in the world and nobody really cares to stop the crime or anything. Although I find that a little hard to believe, but anyways, the film is very different and avant-garde, very surrealistic. I like that. So it flows like some kind of crazy, anxiety-fueled nightmare. Now, don't expect this movie to be a horror film. I know that it has horror elements, or it says horror, comedy, drama, or something like that if you go on IMDb. The reality is that there's horror elements, and there's a couple of areas where things get a bit creepy, but I wouldn't say that this is a horror film. I wouldn't say this is a comedy, and I wouldn't say this is a drama. This is a very heavy gender-bending, genre-bending kind of film, and it's really hard to kind of latch it into something. All you need to know is that you need to just strap yourself in and get ready for one crazy ride, because this movie does not let up. It might be long, but it really keeps you enthralled and interested in what's going on throughout the entire thing. At no point during this movie did I feel bored or not entertained. So if this is something that you feel that you might want to go see, then definitely check this out in theaters, because honestly, the film is very well shot. It's a very pretty film. It's very bright, very well lit. It's a nice film to watch. There's a entire animated section of the film that's really cool to look. So really looks cool. So yeah, I think this is a definite get out there and see it in theaters if this is a genre that you are interested in. Or maybe you've always wanted to see something really surrealistic and weird, and now's your opportunity to go check it out in theaters and see it on a big screen the way it should be seen. Okay, guys, well, that's all I have for you. This is a definite see it in theaters if this is something that you are a definite fan of. If it's something that you're curious about, you don't know if you want to sit down for the entire 3-hour sit in a theater, maybe check this out on streaming so you can pause it, come back to it at another time, blah, blah, blah. But it's still a pretty neat movie to watch. So that's all I have for you today, guys. Thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.